सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। शांति शांति शांति। So, in the first session, part 1, in fact, that is the subject of the session in the YouTube channel, 3 principles of Jivan Mukti Viveka. So, we went through in the first session and we're clear about the 3 principles which lead to Jivan Mukti or liberation. Tattva Jnana, Vasanakshaya, Manonasha. Right? Tattva Jnana, the acquisition of knowledge of the self. Vasanakshaya, the annihilation of the deep-seated desires and impressions. Manonasha, the dissolution of the mind. Out of the above, we dealt with Tattva Jnana and Vasanakshaya in detail in the first session. In this session, we will deal with Manonasha. And he could not contain the Manonasha and the Jivan Mukta Avastha in one session. Therefore, there will be another part 3 in which we will get into detail about the state of Jivan Mukti having transcended, having won over or having acquired Tattva Jnana, Vasanakshaya and Manonasha. So, Manonasha. In Jivan Mukti Viveka, Swami Vidyaranya repeatedly makes the point that liberation or jnana is not possible. It cannot occur without Manonasha, destruction of the mind, and Vasanakshaya, destruction of the habitual tendencies. He states that these 3 should be practiced simultaneously. Throughout this text, he quotes extensively from many authoritative texts to back up his view, including Yoga Vasishta. In Yoga Vasishta, Vasishta says, O best of intellects, Vasanakshaya, Jnana and Manonasha attended to simultaneously for sufficient length of time bear the desired fruits. Vidyaranya then quotes again from Yoga Vasishta, emphasizing the need to practice these 3 for an extended period of time. He says, he quotes from the Yoga Vasishta, until these three are not well attended to with sufficient and repeated trials, the condition can never be realized, even at the end of 100 years. Sri Rama asks Sri Rama asks Vasishta, O sage, the impressions of my former actions lead me to whatever action by whatever manner. Thus I am powerless. Rama is not powerless. He is giving these teachings through this Yoga Vasishta. Somebody has to ask these doubts. Then only the whosoever composed Yoga Vasishta, the clarification will come from the realized master. So in the Yoga Vasishta, Sri Rama takes the role of the student, sadhaka. So he says, my former, that is, in simpler words, in the context of whatever has been taught to you in all these years, my sanskara or my vasanas determine, push my ahankara, ragadvesha to act in a particular way. So I am not able to act in the ideal way prescribed by you. So to that extent I am powerless. What can I do? This is the question put up by Rama. Vasishta tells Rama, O Rama, for your dependence on your former actions, you need to exert yourself and accompanied by efforts. Since you are subject to the impressions of your past actions, to get rid of this subjection, you need to take the initiative with full enthusiasm for an all-out effort, physical and mental transformation. Desires are of two kinds, good and evil. If you are led by good desires, you will attain to that eternal state. If your mind is attached to evil, then by powerful efforts, bring it down to good course. The mind is like a child, so it should be disciplined rigorously. As long as your mind is not capable of reflecting the unity of Brahman and Atman, and that supreme state is not realized, continue to practice in accordance with the teacher, scriptures, and other valid evidence. So, the essence taught to you way back in the karma session, the same question was put up in a different way as per the karma theory. The question put up there was 14 years back. The question put up there was, my prarabdha karma is giving me whatever results in this birth, depending upon the red or white arrows discharged by me. And I am powerless in the discharge of these arrows. They are all brought by me as by way of sanchita karma, and they are being shot. Any amount of my intellect is of no use. They are being shot and they are bearing the results. And this, whatever I am suffering due to my prarabdha karma, it has a demoralizing effect on me. Then it is affecting my present also. What to do? There, Purushartha was introduced. no matter whatever you are enjoying or suffering due to the prarabdha karma, the arrows being laid without any control from your side, you have to let go, and you have whatever suffering, let it come to me. You will have to exercise purushartha, that which has to kept separate from the prarabdha. The prarabdha yielding the results may be sufferings due to the red arrows brought by you. That should not affect your purushartha in the current birth, because this purushartha, whatever you are exercising or not exercising, is going to determine the prarabdha karma of the next birth. Same thing is being put in a very more subtler manner in this treatise here, by way of question answer by Rama and Vasishta. Clear? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, when all desires that dwell in his heart are gone, then by having been a mortal, he becomes immortal and attains Brahman in this very body. In different smritis, Jivan Mukta is indicated by different names such as Sthita Prajna, who has attained the highest knowledge which is unshakable, Bhagavat Bhakta, who is completely immersed in God, Gunatita, one who has transcended this phenomenal existence composed by the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Brahmana, one who has attained Brahman, attained self, and Ati Varna Shramin, who is beyond the reach of the four classes and four stages in the social life: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Ramana says, one should not identify oneself with appearances. One should never relinquish one's self. This is the proper means for destruction of the mind, which is of the nature of seeing the body as self, and which is the cause of all the aforesaid obstacles. This method, which easily destroys egoity, deserves to be called devotion, bhakti, meditation, dhyana, concentration, yoga, and knowledge, jnana, whatever path you may choose. The result, the ultimate destination is the same: Manonasha. God remains of the nature of the self, shining as I in the heart, because the scriptures declare that thought itself is bondage. The best discipline is to stay quiet without ever forgetting the Lord or the self. After resolving in him the mind which is of the form of the I thought, no matter by what means. This is the conclusive teaching of the scriptures. Ramana is continuing. In Advaita, Manonasha, unquote Ramana. In Advaita, Manonasha implies the destruction of the mind and non-identification with all shariras, three shariras. Manonasha is indispensable for realization in Advaita. Question to Ramana: how can the mind be extinguished? Ramana: to forget everything is the ultimate means. But for thought, the world does not arise. Do not think and it will not arise. When nothing arises in the mind itself is lost. Therefore, do not think of anything. Forget all. This is the best way to kill the mind. Question: has anyone else said so before? Ramana: Vashishta said so to Rama. Ramana explains the difference between Manolaya and Manonasha. This was taken up in the Tattva Bodha also. You may not remember now, but it was explained in Tattva Bodha also. Manolaya means concentration, temporarily arresting the movement of thoughts. As soon as this concentration ceases, thoughts, old and new, rush in as usual, and even though this temporary lulling of mind should last 1,000 years, it will never lead to total destruction of thought, which is what is called salvation or liberation from birth and death. So, Manolaya is temporary absorption of mind. Raja Yoga is all about this temporary absorption or arrest of the mind. It can last for 1 hour, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years. But still, till the time one has not attained self-realization, Manonasha is total annihilation of mind and attaining self-realization. Manolaya is temporary absorption of the mind. The temporary is a relative expression. It could last even for 1,000 years. To prove this, there is a story. Ramana says this story. A yogi was doing penance for a number of years on the banks of the Ganges. When he had attained a higher degree of concentration, he believed that continuance in that stage for prolonged periods constituted salvation and practiced it. One day, before getting into deep concentration, he felt thirsty and called to his disciple to bring a little drinking water from the Ganges. But before the disciple arrived with the water, he had gone into samadhi and remained in that state for countless years, during which time much water flowed under the bridge. When he woke up from this experience, the first thing he asked for was water. But there was neither his disciple nor the Ganges in sight. What does this mean? This is temporary absorption. The last thought before getting into deep absorption for many years was bring me water. So, liberation has not been attained. Manonasha has not been achieved. It is the Manolaya after countless years of penance, when the concentration is broken, when he comes to senses, he is starting exactly from where he had left hundreds of years before. He is asking for the water. So Manolaya may never give you realization. From the Raja Yoga, one has to go effortlessly to the path of Jnana, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Simple practice of yoga, simple adhering to Raja Yoga may not yield the ultimate result, though it will be very pleasing, it will be very satisfying, because every day you take up yoga, you are able to arrest your thoughts, you are able to arrest your mind. That itself gives you a very high degree of satisfaction. If you want to settle with that, okay, fine, no problem. But if you are clear about the purpose of the birth, if you are clear about the four means of salvation, sadhana chatushtaya, and if you think that you are a mumukshu sadhaka, then this temporary arresting of the mind, temporary absorption will not yield the ultimate result of salvation or Jivan Mukti or liberation. It depends what is your ultimate goal. Right? Yoga Vashishta Sara, that is the abridged version of Yoga Vashishta, says in the chapter Mano Nasha, when the mind is dissolved, everything is dissolved. What remains after this is the Supreme Brahman, peaceful, eternal, and free from misery. Ribhu Gita says the state of abidance in that thought-free state after Manonasha constitutes moksha. This is the truth. Amrita Bindu Upanishad, verse 5 says, the mind should be prevented from functioning until it dissolves itself in the heart. This is jnana. Shankara says in the Viveka Chudamani, verse 277-278, the yogi's mind dies being constantly fixed on his own self. This apparent universe has its root in the mind and never persists after the mind is annihilated. Therefore, dissolve the mind. Manonasha is of two kinds. This was read out from the Experiences in Meditation book by Swami Shivananda Maharaj from the beach 10 days before. Manonasha is of two kinds, Swarupa Manonasha and Arupa Manonasha, occurring to Jivan Muktas and Videha Muktas respectively. For Jivan Mukta, it is Swarupa Manonasha. Manonasha in form. Arupa Manonasha Videha Mukta. Manonasha having transcended the form. In all cases, Manonasha leads to self-realization. When the vasanas are removed, this results in the destruction of ignorance, and this leads to direct knowledge, aparoksha anubhuti or aparoksha jnana, and self-realization, atma sakshatkar. Mundaka Upanishad, 2nd chapter, rend asunder are the knots of the heart, hridaya granthi, avidya, kamakarma. Torn are all his doubts, and the scenes of his karma disappear when the subjective intuitive knowledge of Brahman is obtained. Thus, karmas are all gone on Manonasha and self-realization. Ulladu Narpadu Anubandham, verse 33 says, the statement that the jnani retains prarabdha while free from sanchita and agami is only a formal answer to the questions of the ignorant. Beautiful Ramana, only Ramana can give this. Of several wives, none escapes widowhood when the husband dies. Even so, when the doer goes, all the three karmas vanish. Okay. So, it is not that Ramana says here that if the husband is your ego and the three wives are your Sanchita Prarabdha Agami, when the ego dies, when the mind dies, when one abides in self, it is not that two wives, Sanchita and Agami, are gone, but still he has to. That is what traditionally we have been taught. That Prarabdha continues like the potter's wheel or the vehicle put on the neutral gear, the wheel goes on for some time. These are all for understanding purpose for the sadhakas. But in the case of a jnani, in the case of a yogi who is abiding in self, it is not to say that he will not undergo his prarabdha karma. Even he is undergoing his prarabdha karma till date and don't know till when. But for him, the third wife prarabdha karma is also gone. In this sense, he is not aware of undergoing the results of his prarabdha karma. In Muscat, there are so many, in Oman, there are so many locations. Only when you see, only when you are aware, you read or visit those places, you will know about them. When you have neither read nor visited, you may not be aware that such and such Vadi exists at all. Similarly, when the yogi is not aware that he is undergoing the results of this prarabdha karma. Why? Because there are two he's here. He, the self, is not aware of the sufferings. He, the body, is undergoing the sufferings. Body, mind is undergoing. Both are watertight compartments. So there is a specific verse in the Ashtavakra Gita where Janaka says there is no prarabdha karma. That was for the first time Acharya introduced to you, and he shook all the learnings of the 12, 13 years and then said, for a yogi there is no prarabdha karma. Imagine that state. Question to Ramana, what is the state after Manonasha? The result will be dullness like that of stones or wood after Manonasha. And then he clarifies. Beg a pardon. This is the question is by the sentence is by Rama. The result will be dullness like that of stones or wood. And this is being clarified by Vashishta. Not so. All this is only illusion. Forgetting the illusion, you are freed from it. Though seemingly dull, you will be the bliss itself. Your intellect will be altogether clear and sharp. Without getting entangled in worldly life, but appearing active to others, the yogi remains as the very bliss of Brahman, and he is ever happy. Unlike the blue color of the sky, let not the illusion of the world revive in the pure ether of consciousness self. To forget this illusion is the sole means to kill the mind and remain as bliss. So Rama is telling it is maybe perhaps Manonasha is you have to stay still, one stays still like a log of wood. And he attributes this to dullness of the mind. Then Vasishtha is clarifying, no, it is not the dullness of the mind. It is existing as pure bliss. Only difference between the self-realized yogi and a normal jiva is that the normal jiva's mind is active. Senses are active. Vasanas are there. Avidya is there. Kama is there. For a yogi, apparently he appears inactive because not that he is inactive in the real sense. The vasanas, senses, kama, avidya, they are all inactive permanently. And having rent ascended all this avidya, kama, karma, he exists in and as Paramananda, bliss. Eternal bliss. No return from that state of Brahma Ananda or Parama Ananda, eternal bliss. Swami also says, Ramana has also said that mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. Among all these thoughts, Ramana says the root thought is the I thought. All other thoughts can arise only after the I thought has arisen. From the avidya, first coloring of the ego is the avidya, the first I. As he quotes very often that if 3 omkars are not taken, the Ganesha bhajan will not start, the bhajan session will not take place. So the first thought is the I thought, that is the avidya. From there all other 4 colorings come. And then actions take place, colored by the combination of these 5 colorings of ego. And the impact of the actions gets stored in the chitta as vasanas. And these vasanas again influence your thought pattern again for fresh actions. If the first I thought is transcended, avidya is transcended, then Ganesha, Guru, Devi, Sai bhajans may not happen. Vidyaranya cites a verse from Amrita Bindu Upanishad to support his view, stating that the mind is the cause of bondage and liberation, and that to attain liberation, one must empty the mind of objective thoughts and allow it to dissolve. Vidyaranya says Manonasha is both a means meditation is the means, and the fruit, liberation. Manonasha is the means. You have to engage in meditation for annihilation of the mind. And total annihilation of mind is what? Again, manonasha. That is liberation. Go back to Swami Chinmayananda's beautiful expression. To end meditation through meditation, engaging in ceaseless meditation is the very purpose of meditation. Start with meditation and transcend the meditated and the meditation, and let the meditation be gone. In Avadhuta Gita, he slaps and he boxes the meditator and says, why do you shamelessly meditate? You don't give up meditation hearing to all these things. This is a state after realization. After realization, the jnani's very sahaja samadhi, the jnani's very existence, his walking, his talking, his silence, his sleep, his look, everything is meditation. There is no separate meditator, there is no separate meditation. Like that one amongst the 100 disciples of Buddha who learnt everything in the silence of Buddha, a mumukshu lit up, fired up sadhaka can actually know what is meditation by just looking at his master in absolute silence. And he can, A to Z of meditation, he can know without reading texts on meditation. Yoga Vashishta verse. विवेकाभ्य उदयत चित्त स्वरूपे अंतर्हिते मुने मैत्र्याद यो गुण कुत्र जायन्ते योगिनां वद. Rama is asking, O sage, with the dawn of discrimination and the annihilation of the mind form of the yogi, the mind's qualities such as friendship, etc., where do they reside? Please teach me. Kutra jayante yoginam vada. Sage Vashishta says, dissolution of the mind is of two types. Again, repetition, arupa swarupa, with form, without form. In Jivan Mukti, it remains with form. In Videha Mukti, the form ceases completely. In the Jivan Mukta who is still living, it exists with form, just to carry out his daily transactions in the world. It is present in him, but as burnt seed, roasted seeds. In the Videha Mukta who is now freed from his body once and for all, the mind is no longer needed by him. So it exists without form. His mind has merged completely with the total mind. Individual consciousness has merged with the universal consciousness. Or in that question answer on the Turiya state, the cosmic consciousness state has been transcended. The cosmic consciousness has saluted and dissolved in the super consciousness state. An excellent description is offered of the liberated state of the Jivan Mukta. We are just having a little glimpse. Actual Jivan Mukta in all its profundity, we will take up in the third part, concluding part of the Jivan Mukti Viveka session. Firstly, there is no delusion in his mind any longer. This means that he is not under the sway of Maya or Prakriti. Whatever he may be engaged in doing, be it involuntarily or voluntarily, whether the act has a purpose or it is without a purpose, whether it brings him any joy or pain, all these are done in a state of utter detachment. Hence, they do not affect his mental balance. He is unaffected by the results they bring. He does not thus incur any fresh karma as a result of his deeds. So we have a major clue on Manonasha or total destruction of mind for a Jivan Mukta in these lines. First, he has mind. But contrary to the mind of a Jiva, his mind is never under any delusion. Munir Navyamoham Bhajati Guru Diksha Shatatamam Jivan Muktananda Lahari. Everything is taken up by him with his sattvic mind or sattvic intellect. Sattvic intellect, sattvic mind, both are same. There is an exclusive session on mind is consciousness given in 2014. Like it was explained in the answer on question Turiya state, his mind functions for necessary discharge of responsibilities or for carrying on his mission if he is a sannyasi. But the self that he exists as is totally detached from the mind acting. By detachment means between his mind and his action, there are no connecting wires of raga, dvesha, hopes, despair, attachment, aversion, etc. Fear, etc. So both are separate. His mind, he abides himself, actions take place on their own with his sattvic intellect, whereas as self he is transcended even that sattvic intellect. This is Manonasha in Advaita Vedanta. In contrary to the Manonasha or the deliberate Manonasha or Manolaya in the yoga. The chapter on Manonasha in the Jivan Mukti Viveka ends with this verse. Tasmat sarupo manonasho Jivan Mukti sadhanam iti sthitam. Therefore, that the dissolution of the mind with form is the means to Jivan Mukti. And that has been established. It is sthitam. He who, though awake, keeps his mind in a tranquil state and does not react to the world around, as in sleep, is the truly liberated person. The liberated man with a virile intellect who has eradicated all desires from the heart is ever free from all agitation of the mind and is himself the great Ishvara. Whether he is in samadhi or not, whether he performs the rituals laid down for his order or not, he stands liberated, free from all attachment. With his mind cleared of all vasanas, it makes no difference whether he performs karma or not. He has no concern with efforts to attain samadhi or with performing japa, etc. He may engage himself in action in the world, but he remains untouched by them. He is not dejected by adversity. One second. So we end with few characteristics of Jivan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta is described as someone who has gained self-knowledge and is no longer affected by the binding effects of action or fear. Freedom from fear and pain. The liberated soul is no longer tormented by fear or the illusion of individuality and therefore does not experience pain in the ordinary sense. Absence of desire and doubt. All doubts are resolved and the individual is free from material desires, having realized their identity with Brahman. Inner contentment. A Jivan Mukta possesses perfect contentment, unruffled peace of mind, and deep abiding joy. Action in inaction. Such a person is not inactive. They see action in inaction and inaction in action. Bhagavad Gita. Performing duties without desire for personal results. The session on Manonasha ends here. The next session is a massive session on Jivan Mukta Avastha as given by Swami Vidyaranya in Jivan Mukti Viveka. You have had several sessions on Jivan Mukta, but there is a particular way and there are certain characteristics, unique characteristics expounded by Swami Vidyaranya in Jivan Mukti Viveka, chapter 5, which are very unique and which are very self-revealing. We will deal with those characteristics. And it is bound to be a unique, revealing session on Jivan Mukta after the three principles are achieved: Tattvajnana, Vasanakshaya and Manonasha. After all these three are through, what is that state? So Jivan Mukti Viveka, Swami Vidyaranya describes that Jivan Mukta as Vidvat Sannyasi. So we are going to learn all about Vidvat Sannyasi in the concluding part. It may take time, maybe 1.5 months for the concluding session for some reasons. After the message on the session and after a reminder message on the session, he sees 1 or 2 sadhakas present for the session. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Way back in 2018, 2021, he used to see 15, 16 sadhakas attending. Everyone has an excuse and everyone thinks that his excuse is genuine, but very unfortunate. There's nothing to say. Hari Om Tat Sat.